Southern Miss with a nice bounce-back victory. It's Locked On Sun Belt.
You are Locked On Sun Belt, your daily podcast on the Sun Velt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sun Belt, your teams every day. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All right, a few more games to talk about from this past weekend. We'll get to Southern Miss here in a second. Jaguars with a struggle, and A.J. Swan continues to turn the ball over, and that is an issue, as App State made it a little bit of a ball game, but falls to Boise State rather easily, unfortunately. And then we'll do an early week 2 preview. And just to let you know, I during the football season, it's not very difficult to come up with ideas, but I like getting ideas, well, from you people. And tomorrow we're going to talk about expectations versus reality. I think I've done that before, come to think of it. But sometimes, reality is not legitimate, and sometimes expectations change, like the Cajuns moving forward with all of their injuries and playing with a third-string quarterback. Nonetheless, we'll get to that coming up. Some expectations are legit, and then you fall short, and I think some expectations are not within the realm of what is reality. But nonetheless, that'll be on Wednesday's episode. All right, Southern Miss with a nice bounce-back victory. Admittedly, this game was on when I got home on Saturday, so I saw a little bit, but it got out of control. So App State came on, so I watched that, and then the Cajuns game came on, and ended up watching that. So, I mean, Southern Miss was in control of this ball game, right? 14-3 in the first half, 21-3 at halftime. It was all Southern Miss. They did go to their bench, at least offensively. Defensively, Ian Foster had another pick six. He's having a phenomenal year. Statistically, rather even, 390 yards for Jack State, 379 for Southern Miss. The big difference in this ball game was 4 turnovers to 1. All right. And Southern Miss fans are touchy when you talk about turnovers. All right. They did have a lead when the turnover started, but still, they get very touchy. If you give them explanations on when they win the ball game, like they matter if you win the ball game. And I'll get into some of that. Some of it does matter. All right. But otherwise, kind of a workmanlike, no one, I mean, they ran the ball. That's what I would take from this ball game. They ran the ball very effectively. 49 times, 227 yards, 4.5 yards a carry. That's outstanding. Defensively, issues. They got rushed on for 262 yards, almost 5 yards a pop, as Jacksonville State ran it 54 times. So that's an issue. Passing-wise, I mean, both teams seem to do that very limitedly. Caden Grill for Jack State was 9-17 with a touchdown and 2 interceptions. Braylon Braxton, solid, not spectacular. 13 out of 22 and 2 touchdowns. But again, it was more along the running games. Jeffrey Pittman, solid ball game, 18 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Matt Jones actually ran it 8 times for 45 yards. You got to like that. And Braxton also ran it for 41 yards and a touchdown. So we had 3 touchdowns on the day. Okay, so Southern Miss with a solid win. They've already won 300% more games than they did last year. They went from 1 to 3, and technically we're not in October yet. So already the season is better than it was last year. And I think I saw my guy Scotty Watkins say Southern Miss has forced 10 turnovers already this season, whereas they forced 10 turnovers all of last season. And obviously that is the goal of every defense. You need a couple of extra possessions, and that's going to change the football game. It is difficult to win a game when you don't turn the ball over. And that is the point of some of my discussion with this, is that can you win, like in a hockey game, when you're straight up, or are you only winning when the other team commits a penalty? And can you score when it's even? And so let's just take a couple of guys who are, after wins, complaining that they're being questioned about their offense, right? Mike Elko did it this past weekend over Auburn, where the defense was spectacular. Auburn's offense stinks, but A&M scored a grand total of 16 points. Brian Kelly, he actually referenced Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly's team scored 20 points against Florida, but turned the ball over, forced 5 turnovers. All right. So why isn't the offense a little bit better? Because what happens is this past Saturday, right? Ole Miss scores 24 points. LSU scores 19 because the same offensive issues were plaguing them against Florida. Now you need the offense to come through, not scoring 45. You need to score 27 or 28, and you probably win the ball game. So that's the thing. All right. By the way, I don't know if I've spoken about this on this. All that stuff is performative. You guys understand that, right? It's not like Brian Kelly and Mike. This is Brian Kelly and Mike Elko's first rodeo. They know what's coming. Okay. They understand what's coming. They're watching the football game. If you don't think they have the same concerns, come on. But if they attack the media, some of the fans will get behind them, and it's, media is an easy target, except when you have the same issues again, but in a loss. Nonetheless, now you got to see, because what's happened in the last 2 wins, right? They turn App State over and they win the ball game. They turn over Jack State, they win the ball game. They don't turn over La Tech, they lose the ball game. That's the thing. So somewhere along the way, you got, when the other team is playing well, you have to figure out how you win those football games. That's the only thing I'm saying. All right. Because somewhere along the way, you're going to get in a good ball game that the other team is not going to turn the ball over. Even if you're the one forcing the turnovers, which is exactly what every defensive coordinator preaches and head coach preaches, right? Just win the turnover battle. It is one of the constant stats in all of football, college, pro, high school, whatever level you're playing. The team that wins a turnover battle wins like 75 or 80% of the games. It may even be more than that. So everyone stresses that, all right? But what happens if they don't turn the ball over? Can you win those ball games? And that's that next step that we'll see if Southern Miss can take. Let's see. We keep on talking about the ULM Southern Miss ball game, but that's not for a few weeks. All right. Who do they get next? Okay. They have 2 interesting ball games coming up. They get Georgia Southern and they get the Cajuns. That's in a little bit. All right. So they get, I think they're off this week, right? Yes, they're off this week. So Southern Miss is off this week. They get 2 road games. Okay. Let's be honest. Those 2 road games are winnable. Georgia Southern and Louisiana. Louisiana presents some different problems, but these are not on the higher level, in the top half of the conference. Those are winnable ball games. Although you guys know this, I always preach winning on the road in any level is hard, especially college football. All right. And we'll see. The Cajuns will be coming off that game against JMU. Do they win? Do they play well? How is the crowd? Apparently, the crowd was pretty good when that game started against Marshall, but when it got to 34-17, mass exodus, people leave. They missed an all-time great comeback. Those are 2 very winnable ball games for Southern Miss. Let's be honest. All right. I mean, you could have a 5-2 Southern Miss against a 5-2 ULM. In about a month. I think just under a month. When will that be? On the 25th? Yeah, on the 25th. That would be a huge ball game. All right. So we'll see if that can happen. Again, winning on the road is hard, right? Southern Miss has struggled on the road so far this year. Has played well at home. So we'll see. They get ULM at home. They got to go to Georgia Southern after a week off, and they got to go to the Cajuns. We'll see where the Cajuns are at that time. Are they getting some offensive linemen back? For whatever reason, Mike Desmo didn't want to commit to Lunch Winfield. I don't know why, other than I think they have the week off, so they can take that week off. He was limping on the field and didn't seem to affect him much. So he'll probably have a week off, but you got to figure Lunch Winfield is the starting quarterback for the Cajuns. All right, let's take a timeout. We will go over South Alabama's ball game against North Texas and App State against Boise State right after I tell you about Square and Game Time. This episode is brought to you by Square. Your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that truly make the neighborhood feel like home, whether it's local sports bars packed on game days, the coffee shop that knows your order by heart, or the corner deli that's been serving community for decades. These are the places that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood thrives. I told you Sunday, just a couple days ago, I guess. Stopped back at the Post, had a nice slice of pizza, had a breadstick, and an adult beverage, and got out of there relatively unscathed. And they do know my drink order by heart these days. That could be a good and bad thing. Square is a proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You go to square.com/go/LockedOnCollege to learn more. But before you do, support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy that you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. And game time. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle of the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. If you are interested in going to the App State, Oregon State ball game, right, that is this weekend, you better hop on it, because the cheapest ticket I saw was $107, and that's about at 7 p.m. Eastern time on Monday. Those prices are only going to go up. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sun Belt, your teams every day. We got this one right. North Texas is good, and South Alabama struggles. 36-22 is 14-7 at halftime. South Alabama actually scored on their first possession of the game. Bishop Davenport, kind of an uneven ball game, 17 out of 34, 195 with a touchdown and interception. They actually rushed for 204 yards. PJ Martin had 60. Davenport had 59. Kentrell Bullock had 46. And Keenan Phillips, 39. So we're trying to figure out, what's going on there. Devin Voisin, 5 catches, 97 yards. PJ Martin out of the backfield, 3 catches. Anthony Eager, 5 receptions, but only 20 yards. That's a problem. With his long being 15. Okay, that's a problem. The passing attack for North Texas wasn't great. 14 out of 26, 234. So he averaged 9 yards a catch. Caleb Hawkins rushed 16 times, 140 yards. That's impressive. Caleb Hawkins also had 2 receptions, 78 yards, had a 68-yard touchdown reception out of the backfield. That's bad. So that's just not good defense. There's no way to put it otherwise. North Texas had 429 yards. South Alabama had almost 400 at 396. Each team had a turnover. South Alabama actually 22 out of 28. 32, 28 time of possession, 27, 32 for North Texas. So this game was relatively even, and yet somehow North Texas won it by 14 points. Tough season for the Jags, 1-4 so far. They get Troy. We'll talk about that. That is the battle of the belt, and it is in Troy this year. It's a tough sledding right now for South Alabama. All right. Again, that's going to be another one. What can the expectations be? Playing a new quarterback when you thought you had your quarterback, although you did have a little bit of time, but it was after spring, right? So Bishop Davenport all of a sudden becomes the starting quarterback after spring practice. All right. And Boise State takes down App 47-14. This game was not a ball game. It became a little bit of a ball game to begin the second half when it was 24. Was it 24-17? I thought it was 27. Let me see. It was 27-14. That's as close as they got it. And let's even see these stats. 473 yards, actually 321-yard passing for Boise. They rushed for 152 yards, but App defense could not do a thing. throwing 11 penalties for 94 yards, not great. Time of possession was 38 minutes to 21. I mean, this is a real complete domination. A.J. Swan, 64 yards, 11 out of 24, touchdown, 2 interceptions. Got to feel he's probably a little bit banged up. Dubinion rushed it pretty good. Rashad Dubinion, 17 carries, 113 yards. App State falls to 2-2 after starting out 2-0. But they went to Southern Miss and Boise. They're getting Oregon State on Saturday, which is not that great. Oregon State is 0-5. Lost to California, lost to Fresno State, lost to Texas Tech, lost to Oregon, lost to Houston. So they've lost to some pretty good teams. Well, let's see where that. What's Cal right now? Cal is 4-1. Cal's beaten Minnesota. They lost to San Diego State, beat BC, Texas Southern win, and a win over at Oregon State. So Oregon State is 0-5. App State's got to win the football game. Are they project? Do we get the line? What's the line? How would you even bet that game? Oregon State is favored by 1.5. Oh, goodness. Let's see what the prognostication is. App State, though, favored to win 50.3% of the times. Matchup predictor. Interesting. All right, we'll go over those in a little bit. But we'll see if App State can bounce back. Got to get A.J. Swan healthy or, again, make the adjustment. We need to run the football. All right? I know that's easier said than done because you can load the box up. But if you can run the football and they load the box up, play action pass becomes that much easier. That's what I would do if I am App State. We got to, try to control the clock, play some defense, and not put our quarterback in tough situations. If you're behind, that makes it tougher because you don't want to give up, just like the Cajuns didn't, and eventually you're going to have to throw it. Although it felt like Lunch was running much more than he threw it. Anyways, it ended up being about the same, I think. All right, let's take a timeout. We'll go over more of that week 2 preview. It says week 2. Not starting all over again. I don't know why it says week 2. I don't know why I typed in week 2. It's week 5. All right. We got a typo. I don't know. I've been off all day, but I don't know why it says week 2. I'm not starting all over again. All right. It is a week 5 preview. We'll do that after I tell you about the new Mazda. Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how we craft every model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but. From smooth handling to intuitive controls, with all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sun Belt, early week 5. Early week 5 for you. The phone rings off the hook all day. Just the spam calls, the spam calls, the spam calls. All right, so on Saturday, coming up, what do we do here? Again, all the games are on Saturday, the 4th. We do have Arkansas State and Texas State on ESPNU. And Northwestern hosting ULM on the Big Ten Network. All right. But you do get Troy and South Alabama. It turns out it's Troy's first Sun Belt ball game. So, again, if you are South Alabama, you can still have a pretty good season if you can get a Sun Belt win, especially if you go into Troy and win the Battle of the Belt. It's been a minute since they did. They won last year pretty handily. And so we'll see if they can duplicate that. Troy's 2 wins are both ridiculous. They struggled against Nichols, pulled away. Or actually, we'll try that. Yeah, no. They struggled against Nichols and scored 28 points in the 4th quarter. I knew that was the case. So they won by 18, but had to score 28 in the 4th to win that ball game. Lose to Clemson in a ball game they could have won. And they lost to Memphis in a game they were not in. That's when Goose Crowder got hurt. They beat Buffalo with 21 points in the fourth quarter when they were down 17-0. So we'll see. They get the week off. That gives you another chance to get Tucker Kilgrease familiar with the offense. That's a 2.5-point spread. You got to figure Troy has got to be favored in that a little bit because South Alabama's defense is just not very good at all. Northwestern and Monroe. Northwestern's 10.5-point spread. Is this a winnable ball game for Monroe? It's a lesser Power 4 squad. Outside of Virginia Tech, we being the Sun Belt, have not shown up in these matchups. All right. And Northwestern is not any great shakes. They got hammered by Tulane 23-3. Tulane's good, right? But they got embarrassed by Tulane. They beat Western Illinois, got beat by 20 by Oregon, and they slipped past what is a very bad UCLA football team. Is Northwestern? Let's see if Northwestern's passing or running, because if they're running, I mean, Preston Stone is the quarterback, 656 yards, 60% completion percentage, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Okay. They do run it. Actually, they got about like a 3-headed monster here. Caleb Komolathi, 269 yards on 63 carries. Joseph Hyman, 36 carries, 195 yards. And Cam Porter, 18 carries, 137 yards. They do average 5 yards a carry. Again, Northwestern is not any great shakes. All right. They're going to be, you would think, bigger and faster, but I think this is a winnable ball game for Monroe. All right. Now, if that's a winnable ball game, could they be 6-1 heading into, it is on the road, although we're not going to the big house or anything like that. Could they be 6-1 if they win this ball game? They're going to Coastal. We'll see what Coastal is. Coastal had the week off after embarrassing South Alabama. Right. Well, they did have the week off. Yeah, they won their ball game 38-20 over South Alabama. So we'll see if maybe Coastal figures something out. I don't know. Then they get Troy at home. I'm thinking they lose to Northwestern, slip past Coastal, beat Troy at home. You're 5-2. You beat Northwestern. Can you be 6-1 taking on Southern Miss? First of all, you get the bowl game. Or do they jump in rivers in Monroe like they do in San Marcos? They're going to a bowl game if they win the next 3 ball games before Southern Miss. Now, all of a sudden, you're talking about division title. Start thinking about that a little bit more than halfway through the season. We got a long way to go for that. I understand, but that's what's on the table. Northwestern is not all that good. That is a winnable ball game if Monroe can play some defense and get a little bit of offense. All right. Again, we talked a little bit about App State taking on Oregon State. 0-5 Oregon State is 1.5-point favorite in the mountains. You got to be kidding me. So we'll see if App State can bounce back. They need to win this football game. Okay, they need to. They should win this football game. Now, if you're App State, you can't look at the 0-5. So you got to focus on just winning the game because it goes downhill fast if we lose to an 0-5 football team at home. If you lose to an 0-5 football team on the moon, it's not great. But if you lose to them in lovely Boone, North Carolina, that's going to be a problem. That's not going to go over well. All right. Georgia State hosting James Madison. I'd be impressed if Georgia State scored 10. JMU is 19.5-point spread. I guess the way that would happen is if, you take the starters out for JMU. Don't make any mistake about it. JMU's defense is as good as they come. Ask Louisville how good that defense is. And so, Georgia State's going to struggle in this one. All right. Georgia Southern found out how good JMU's defense is. Again, if I'm Cajuns fans, got to temper those expectations going to JMU in a couple weeks. I would expect JMU to run away with this football game. well, you can't get overconfident type of deal, but just keep it what's in front of you. I'm sure Bob Chesney is doing that. All right. This is basically trying to save Arkansas State season. Arkansas State is 1-4, just 0-1 the Sun Belt. This is Texas State's Sun Belt opener. They're 3-1. They had the week off. They're going to Arkansas State. This has been a crazy rivalry the last few years. With I think Arkansas State putting up a 70 spot a couple of years ago. Texas State 13.5-point favorites on the road. Arkansas State has just not recovered from playing the big boys, and then found themselves down 21-0 to Kennesaw State. Then was up 10-0 and somehow loses 28-16 to Monroe, snapping a 15-game winning streak against the Warhawks. I would think Texas State's going to win this ball game. Would be disappointing if it's by double digits, but Arkansas State right now is lost. They are lost. You got to figure something out what's going on in Jonesboro. And again, I don't think Butch Jones is going anywhere. I don't care how bad it gets. He's not going anywhere. Old Dominion taking on Coastal Carolina. That's a 6 p.m. start, ESPN Plus. 3-1. Again, fumbles. I mean, remember, fumbles cost them a chance to win, or turnovers cost them a chance to win against Indiana. They were not in danger of losing to Liberty, but you got to stop turning the ball over, right? You can make games much easier on yourself if you stop turning the ball over. I did want to go back a little bit. Someone said that on the comments you saw, James Madison. It was during the day, so I didn't get a chance to watch it. Alonzo Barnett didn't have that bad of a ball game because they're dropping the ball in rain. Well, okay. I'm sorry. That's not, again, there's a difference between reason and excuse. If you don't want to drop the football when it's raining, you can't throw the football. If you're throwing the football and it hits you in the hands when it's raining, you still have to catch the football. All right. I understand the point, but if you're worried about holding on to the football when it's raining, maybe not throw the football. Kind of tough to blame the rain when that's what you're deciding to do. Again, I didn't see it. Again, I'm a guy that if it's well defended, I don't care if you get your hands on it or not. If it's knocked away, it's knocked away. All right. Does it make it easier when it's raining? Sure. But if you have your hands on the ball and I'm the defender and I knock the ball down, that's a good play by me. Well, he had his hands on it. He should catch it. No, the defender's there and he's knocking the ball away. That's not an excuse. That's a reason. Plus, where's the defender supposed to be? He's supposed to be right there. So, I'm not sure I like rain as an excuse why those numbers weren't quite as good. If you give me that as a reason, I guess, but stop throwing the football if you can't catch it when it's wet. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. That seemed like an odd deal. So we shall see. And again, just like Old Dominion, you cost yourself a game against Indiana. You got to stop turning the ball over. All right. You got away with it because you beat Liberty 21-7 because Liberty stinks, but you got away with it. And again, we are still waiting for week 8 about week 8 for that ODU JMU game. Oh, no, maybe. Hold on. Oh, it is week 8. Yeah, it's week 8. Yeah, that is a big one. All right. And you got to figure if those two teams haven't lost again, they will be on national TV somewhere. It's got to be picked up. All right. You'll see. All right. Also, just figured out it's a week 6 preview. So go figure. All right. It's week 6. All right. It's not week 2. It's not week 5. It's an early week 6 period. I had the whole day off. I don't know why I screwed it up like that. Twice. No. We'll see if we have. I will try to get a Thursday episode. It is the Jewish holiday. That means I'm going to have to do 2 episodes. I probably can because I do have Wednesday off. So the Jewish holiday starts at night. I guess if I was coming home from work, I probably wouldn't do it. But I do have Wednesday off. So we'll probably have a Thursday episode. It is the holiest of all days. I have to fast. So I'm having trouble eating healthy when I can eat. Now I'm not going to eat anything at all for a day. So we get dinner to dinner. But I'm off on Wednesday. So we should be able to get an episode for Thursday. That's the plan. We'll see what happens. All right. I don't know if it's going to be week 2, week 5, week 9 preview, but we'll probably have an episode for Thursday. All right. Thanks again for tuning in. By the way, I don't know what it is. The analytics went nuts. We had a record Saturday for the audio downloads. We're going to now have a record month for audio downloads. It may not sound much to other channels, but we're going to go over 9,000 downloads for the first time ever. All right. It was 75.8. I think July with the latex stuff and Texas State leaving it was like 85. And we're going to go over 9,000 downloads. So I do thank you very much. All right. Let's keep it up. Very big in Brazil, apparently. I don't know why. All right. I don't know why. But we did get a bunch of downloads, a bunch of listens anyways, on Saturday, which is an unusual day to do it because we don't put on a new episode. But it was a record day on Saturday, and we're going to have a record month here in September. So I do thank you. All right. Remember, Apple and Spotify, you can listen to. You can find it anywhere, but Apple by far is the biggest one, and Spotify has some listeners as well. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. Back again tomorrow. We're going to talk about expectations versus reality when we do Wednesday's episode. Enjoy the day, everybody. I will be back on Wednesday. You've been listening and watching Locked On Sun Belt, your teams every day.